Welcome to Real Girl Talk. I am your host, Sherry Ricard. I empower women to stand in their purpose, to succeed despite the odds stacked against them, and to live their life knowing they're enough and worthy. Join me each week for powerful messages and interviews that will inspire you to create the life that you want. Now let's go. Wow, I am excited. Welcome, guys. Episode 1 of Real Girl Talk. Yes, pinch me, because I really can't believe this is happening. I want to talk to you on our very first episode about, ladies, things that we whisper to ourselves and we manifest them in our lives. What are we doing? You know, there's one thing, yet two things actually we all have in common. Do you know what they are? Loss and love. And seriously, it doesn't matter what your political viewpoints are. Doesn't matter your race, your financial status, or your background. We all go through love and loss at one time or another in our lives. So how are you managing your emotions and this pain? They're both feelings, and all we want to do is feel good, right? We get hurt over love, we get hurt over loss, and all we want to do is feel good. An example of feeling good, if you want a business, it's not the business that you want. It's what the business will give you. It's the feeling that that business will give you. Somebody wants to get married. It's not the act of getting married. It's what marriage will give them. It's the feeling that being married will give them. Just like a relationship. It's not like, oh, I want to be in a relationship. No, you want the feeling that you get when you're in a relationship. So challenge me on this. Is there something that you want? The reason you want something because of a feeling is because that's what you want to get in your life. It's just a feeling. If I kept asking you over and over, if you said, Sherry, I want a business, I want a relationship, I want a baby, and I kept asking you, why do you want that? Why do you want that? You would eventually say, because it's going to make me feel good. It's going to fulfill me and give me contentment in some way. So it's the emotion that we're going after, the feelings that we're going after, not the actual business or the relationship that we're going after. So the best way to accomplish anything is a state of mind, right? So public speaking is a great example because I do public speaking. If every time you had to speak in public and you became anxious, shaking, and your palms were sweating, you would avoid speaking in public at all costs, right? I mean, if you thrived when you became a public speaker and when you got in front of that crowd, it just gave you that high and it made you feel good and you were excited, it would create a great state of mind and you'd want to do that over and over and over again. The power of joy and passion is managing the state of mind. That's all it is. If you can't manage it, it can cost you success, friends, family, and your joy. So joy doesn't come from how politics is going or how the weather's going or how your relationship's going, or at least it shouldn't. You have to control it. You have to control your happiness. You have to control your joy. Listen, I'm going to tell you a story about this guy. Mitchell. It was 15 years ago, and he was driving his motorcycle down the road. He got fixed on something, crashed, slid under a Mack truck, fuel spilled everywhere, and it caught on fire. 3/4 of his skin was burned. His face was completely demolished, almost gone, and he woke up in severe pain. Listen, when I did nursing, I had to do my 9 weeks in the burn unit, and I couldn't wait to get out of there. It was horrifying to me. I mean, I started second guessing why I even wanted to be a nurse. I thought if I have to work in the burn unit, just forget it. I'll just be a finance advisor or something and go work in a bank, or, I'll clean houses and scrub toilets, but I can't deal with the burn victims. They're in such pain and agony. And this guy was so severely burned. Most people want to die. When they're in that situation, I've come across many patients. They do want to die, and so did Mitchell. But he decided to manage his state and focus on what he wanted to do, and maybe he could just ignore his physical pain. So he began to manage his mind, and 3 years later, he began to fly planes. That's not the end. You would hope that would be the end, that he became a pilot and he overcame that state of mind after 3 years. No, he crashed his plane. He killed everyone but himself. He was in a wheelchair and has been in a wheelchair, and he's dependent on a wheelchair. But guess what? He is now the mayor in the city of Colorado, remarried, and has his own radio show. Now, if that's not creating a state of mind through pain and suffering, I don't know what is. So next time you think, listen, I can't handle what's going on in my life. I can't change my state of mind. I can't manifest anything. I think it's all bull crap. Think about W. Mitchell 15 years ago and what he went through, and it really will start to put your issues and problems in perspective, because there's always somebody else that has a worse situation. That's just how it is. So he had many challenges, right? To manage his state of mind, to get through all of these tragedies. And I'm going to tell you, there's two primary ways to manage your state of mind. And this is no crap. Control how we use our physical body, and I'll explain that, and mental focus by what we say. All right, so let's talk about the physical body. I'm not saying you have to work out in the gym and be in great shape and all that, because Lord knows I'm not, all right? In order to feel anything in your life, think about this. Think about a depressed person. If I told you about someone depressed and then I asked you to describe them, what would you tell me? You would tell me about their posture and how they hang their head and their eyes, and their breathing may be shallow, and just their overall facial expressions. You know who I'm talking about. You probably know somebody that's depressed or was depressed or it's going through depression. So it's your physical body. It's how you carry yourself. It's how you hold your head. And then it's focus on what we say to ourselves. Standing tall is one thing, but if you're standing tall and you're talking bad, or you're saying something negative, or those negative Nancy's, they're in your office, they're in your family, they might even be in your friend group. And that's for a whole nother podcast, really. We're going to talk about the friends and who to surround yourself with. But listen, if you're standing tall, you can't be depressed. If you're holding your head up and you're standing tall and you have a smile on your face, your gestures and postures are great, you cannot be depressed. I'm serious. You need to try it, okay? Try it, and you can tell me I'm full of it, but I'm not. I've taught many classes on how to empower yourself by motions and what we say to ourselves, because motion creates emotion. Motion creates emotion. What do you do when you're depressed? Think about it. You may eat, you may smoke, you may drink a lot, you may watch TV all day, you may stay in the bed. You can't motivate your kids if you're practicing down at a level 3 and you're trying to get your kid up to a max 10 on motivation. It's just not possible. So on a level of 1 to 10, where do you need to be to accomplish any important task that you have going on right now? Think about that. It could be a project. It could be something going on in your family, a relationship, could be a business you're trying to start, could be a financial situation. Where do you need to be on a level of 1 to 10 to accomplish the task that you have right now? So you have to change the way you feel. You need to change the way you move. It's those rapid gestures and those power moves that starts to change our mental state. How would you walk if you felt successful? If you're standing somewhere right now, don't do this if you're driving your car, but if you're at home or you're at work and you're listening, and what would you do? How would you stand and how would you walk if you felt successful? You would stand up straight. I bet every single one of you immediately stood up straight. Guarantee it. You wouldn't walk the way you normally walk. You would stand up straight. It's a whole state of mind. Walk now like you're unstoppable. Walk like you have power. Walk like you're in charge of the place. Now walk around unsure. Walk around with your back bent over and have a lack of confidence. And watch how that changes your state of mind. Did you just go down a notch? Did we just take you from a level 5 to a level 2? A state of passion by changing what you say is your next primary way. If you talk to someone and you say, gosh, I really want to help people, notice how you're standing in your gestures and your tones and your tempo and your facial expressions. You know, I really want to go on this trip. I really want to help somebody. I really want to be in a relationship. Think about your tone of voice and how that changes your state of mind. Now, if you start to talk slow and you slow that down and you start talking with a depressed monotone in your voice, watch how that changes your state of mind. I'm serious. I'm telling you guys straight because I know what I'm talking about. I've studied it, I've researched it, I've practiced it, and I speak on it, and I write about it. I want you to try it, and then just tell me I'm crazy. But don't tell me I'm crazy if you don't try it, all right? So for 1 minute, I want you to take turns with somebody, partner up with somebody. If you're at work, tell them what you're doing, partner up with somebody, and I want you to change your state of mind and passion. I want you to use your voice, your gestures, your tempo, your pace, your facial expressions, and I want you to practice for 1 minute with your partner, your girlfriend, somebody at work, and I want you to go back and forth, maybe just stating a sentence about the day, talking about the weather, and I want you to do it in a low, monotone, depressed way, and then I want you to pick it up a notch, and I want you to see how your mental state and your focus actually changes. And I also want you to think about, where are your hands when you talk? You know, I'm a hand talker. Even when I'm on stage, I have to be real careful because, you know, I can get out there with my hands and I look like I'm going to fly away. And it's okay to talk with your hands, but remember, it's those passionate moves. And remember that it's how the brain works. We trigger passion by the way we move. So if you're moving your hands and you're moving your head and your facial expressions, you're going to change that focus as well. And then after you do that for a minute, I want you to stop and see where you are on a scale on level of 1 to 10. And I want you to change your monotones to get it up to about an 8 or a 9. You know, I think the only time we could really top over a 10 is if we won the lottery. I mean, really. Everybody kind of walks around in a 5. Unless you have somebody that's a real positive mindset person, you can get them to about a 7 on a daily basis. 2 important words. You know what they are? I am. I am. Because what comes after that can change your entire outlook, direction, and even your relationships in life. I'm going to preach for a second. The scripture talks a lot about the words that come out of our mouth. We need passionate, faith-filled words. No, I'm not a preacher. I don't claim to be a preacher. But for people that are women of faith, men of faith, when I'm telling you mindset and manifesting and prophesying, a lot of times the Christians in us will say, what is she talking about? God controls everything. Yes, he does. But the scripture also says that the words that come out of your mouth need to be passionate and faith-filled words. It says that the words that come out of our mouth can cause harm to ourselves as well as others. So the words that come out of our mouth can change our direction depending on what's coming out of our mouth. Proverbs is a book of wisdom and it guides us and directs us. Go back to Proverbs. The chapter of James says that the tongue is a small part of the body. With one spark, like a forest fire, you can spark a forest fire in your life. Yes, indeed. It also compares our tongue to a rudder of a big ship. A rudder is actually one of the smallest parts of the ship, just like the tongue is a small part of your body. Did you know, depending on what direction that udder turns, it can change the direction of that entire ship? Depending on what comes out of your mouth can change the direction of your entire day, of your entire relationship, of your entire life. Okay, guys, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to go to sherryricard.com. You can click the contacts tab and leave me a message, or you can go to info@sherryricard.com. I'm going to be answering some questions questions that I already have in the queue on my future podcast. So make sure you leave your questions there. A couple of more things before we go. I am opening up 5 more private coaching sessions this fall. And then I'm shutting it down to 2019. So message me if you're ready to step outside your comfort zone and create the life that you want. Also, something really cool, I am going to have 2 vision board workshops in January. So make sure you subscribe to my website so you're able to get those announcements. Now, the workshops are going to be very limited seating, and they're going to sell out quickly. So make sure you subscribe and get that notice. That's all I have today. I hope you guys have a blessed week. I hope this episode was super helpful for you. And if you loved it, please share it with everybody. And make sure you subscribe right now to Real Girl Talk so you don't miss an episode. Thank you again. And remember, everyone was born on purpose for a purpose. Have a blessed week.